Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Uncharted 1 Crushing Difficulty walkthrough, and this is chapter 3, also known as a surprising find. And this is where the game more or less really takes off. We're gonna start this chapter by doing some platforming to get into the submarine, and I mentioned in one of my previous videos that the platforming in this game is a bit rough. And this is the first time where that roughness really becomes apparent. Because when you swing in those vines, if you're not very precise when you press the button to jump from it, you will plummet to your death. Because it's programmed in such a way that if you don't press it just before it peaks, or if you press it just after it peaks, Nate loses all his forward momentum and you fall to your death. And that is something I think they could have worked on while they were remastering this game, because in the sequels it works a lot better. So while they were remastering it, it would have been one of those little details they could have fixed that which would have made this a much more enjoyable gaming experience. Because the original game came out in 2007 and now that's 10 years ago, so I can understand why it was in the game originally. But since they fixed it in the sequels, why not fix it while remastering it? But I'm not gonna dwell on that forever. Instead, we're gonna focus on this. And we're getting close to the submarine. I have trimmed out all the interior shots of the submarine, due to the fact that it's just Nate walking around, very linear, very simple, so you don't need my help to get through it. It's just a little exposition sequence. So you're gonna see me climb up here, and there's gonna be a little transition, and suddenly I'm running for my life. And when you start running here, get behind this rock formation as fast as you can and take out this guy. Because on crushing, I've realized this while I've been editing, you'd go down in 4 bullets from a pistol. So if you're really unlucky there, they will gun you down before you get behind a corner. And this first guy, shoot him. Do not break his neck like I did. Because the very second you shoot him, his friends spawn in. There are 3 guys. 2 of them usually try to rush you. I got lucky, only 1 of them tried to rush me. But sometimes when you break the neck of that first guy, they will shoot you down before you have time to get behind this cover. And also, if you are really unlucky, Elena will be standing in the way. And that is something that can be very annoying in this game, because Elena can be a great help, and she can also be a complete troll. She is very good to have in combat. She is quite aggressive, and she doesn't do that much damage. She can kill enemies, even though it takes her quite a while to do it. But sometimes she will be in your way, you will get stuck on her, you will clip on her, so to speak, and it can be quite annoying. And now you're gonna see a great function in this game. And I don't mean the blind firing, instead I mean that sidestep that he did while I blind fired. That is something that enemies do a lot in this game. When you shoot at them, and if you miss them, or sometimes when you're just aiming at them, they will try to sidestep to get out of your line of fire. So when you're hanging from ledges and stuff like that, it's good sometimes to just blind fire 1 shot, make him do that little sidestep, which stun locks him more or less. Because he can't shoot during that sidestep animation. So if you do a quick shot, you see him going into the sidestep, jump out with your aim out and gun him down before that animation ends. And he won't have a chance in hell to do anything. And I have now picked up the AK-47, which is a weapon I use quite a lot in this game. Even though I'm not that fond of it. Because it has quite a wide bullet spread when you fire it, and it doesn't make it doesn't deal that much damage, but it is a very common weapon in this game, and it's usually the one you get the most ammo for. But the best way to optimize firing this gun is to use short controlled bursts at all times. The only times you should really press down on the trigger for your life is when enemies get really close. When they get too close for comfort, you know you're at the verge of dying, then it's time to just spray and pray. And also getting across these platforms, make sure you jump when you're close to the edge, because at one time, actually not on the recording run, but one time when I played this, I jumped a little bit too far from the edge and just fell down into the abyss. One of those annoying things when the platforming is a bit rough. And as you can see, this chapter is basically chapter 2 backwards. And the reason I don't take the stairs to get up here is that there are 3 enemies spawning in as soon as you get up here. And if you go up on the stairs, you will get very close to that first guy popping out behind a pillar, and you're gonna be at risk of getting mowed down before you have even a chance to react. So I recommend always climb up the side of that wall and get in behind this pillar and start using the cover trick. Because cover trick is something that makes you feel very empowered. And in this game, since they have such amazing aiming, it's absolutely vital to get through it. And the cover trick basically consists of, as you can see, I'm completely covered by this pillar, but my aim is outside and I use the camera to fool the game, more or less, into thinking that my weapon is outside. And that is a really good thing, and it's very useful through the entire game series and in third-person shooter games in general. And now I have my gun out because I know there is a guy hiding there. So we mow him down and he dies very dramatically, flying backwards even though he was shot by a normal handgun.
Just keep your head down.
And that is something that is very common in this game, and I find it to be quite funny that enemies have a tendency to die very dramatically. Even if you shoot them with just a normal pistol, they will do backflips and they will do twirls, and it will be like Olympic Games of silliness. It looks really ridiculous at times, but it's a fun little aspect of the game as we progress onwards once more. And in the other games they do die a lot more realistically, but it's a fun detail. And a lot of enemies in this game will try to throw grenades at you, as this guy does right now. And grenades in this game are a bit interesting, to say the least, because they can be very good at times, but they have a really small blast radius. So I don't use them that much. I use them most as a distraction to get enemies away from me, because they are very good at dodging grenades. But when an enemy throws a grenade at you, as long as it ends up on the other side of your cover, even though it may be the thinnest stone wall in the history of mankind, you are completely safe. Unless it's a wall that consists of little rocks piled on each other, because those covers are breakable. But I'm gonna talk more about that when we reach a point where we can find those. But as long as you don't stand far too close to the grenade, when it explodes you will not take too much damage. And if it ends up on the other side of the thing you're hiding on, there is no reason to even move. You will just hear some ringing in your ears for a few seconds and you can continue fighting. And we are almost out of this temple now, and when we get out, this is by far one of the hardest parts of this entire chapter, the final little fight. There are 3 enemies out here. One is to your right, one is right in front of you, and one is slightly to your left. When you come out, go for the guy on the right first and spray. You're gonna see me doing it in a few seconds because he needs to die as fast as possible. So I run out with my AK and I just mow him down. Because if you go to the left, I have never succeeded in this fight going to the left because they have rushed me and they have mowed me down and I haven't stood a chance. But I realized if you take down the guy to the right first, the guy that I'm firing at right now is the only one who will try to rush you then. And as long as you're aggressive and you force him backwards, he will never even get close to you. And this third guy, one quick shot to the head, down he goes. And chapter 3 is now officially beaten, so you will just see me running around here for a few seconds, picking up some ammo, and we are gonna head for the jeep and out of here. But this is really fun, and it's a taste of things to come. But I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.